When Martha stepped out for her daily 3-mile walk last spring, the morning air was crisp with possibility. At 73, she took pride in maintaining the same walking routine she'd established in her 50s. "Keep moving or rust in place," her father always said. But lately, Martha noticed something troubling. Her knees ached not just during her walks, but for days afterward. Her energy seemed depleted rather than renewed. And most concerning, her doctor had noticed changes in her joints that seemed to be progressing faster than expected. What if the very activity Martha believed was keeping her young was actually accelerating her aging process? Many of us were raised to believe that walking is the perfect exercise for our golden years. It's free, accessible, and gentle, or so we thought. But recent research has revealed something surprising. After age 70, excessive walking might actually contribute to unnecessary wear and tear on aging bodies. Does this mean you should hang up your walking shoes for good? Absolutely not. Movement remains essential to vibrant aging, but there's a delicate balance that, once understood, can help protect your joints, preserve your energy, and actually slow down the aging process rather than speed it up. I've gathered 7 remarkable alternatives that can provide all the benefits of walking with none of the hidden costs, and you'll want to stay until the very end. The 7th approach is something your doctor likely hasn't mentioned, yet it could be the missing piece in your longevity puzzle. Alternative number 1, water-based movement. Traditional walking places all your body weight directly on your joints with each step. For those over 70, this repeated impact can accelerate cartilage deterioration, leading to inflammation, pain, and eventually limited mobility. Eleanor, a vibrant 76-year-old former school principal, loved her morning walks through the neighborhood. "It was my thinking time," she told me, her eyes crinkling at the corners. "But by last summer, my hips hurt so badly that I'd need to sit on every bench I passed." Eleanor's doctor showed her x-rays revealing joint spacing that had narrowed significantly over just 2 years of her daily 2-mile walks. When we walk, each step creates an impact force of 1.5 times our body weight on our joints. After 70, our body's natural shock absorbers, cartilage, has often thinned by 30–40%. Our bodies also produce less synovial fluid, the natural lubricant that keeps joints moving smoothly. This combination means each step can accelerate wear on already vulnerable joints. Water-based movement eliminates up to 90% of the weight-bearing pressure on joints while still providing resistance for muscle strengthening. Eleanor started attending a water walking class 3 times weekly at her local community center. "In the water, I feel 20 years younger," she shared. "I can move freely without a single twinge." You don't need complicated equipment or even to know how to swim. Simply walking in chest-deep water for 20–30 minutes provides cardiovascular benefits equal to walking twice that time on land, with none of the joint stress. Many community pools offer senior water exercise classes specifically designed for those over 70. Start with water walking in waist-deep water, gradually progressing to deeper water as your confidence grows. Add foam water weights for additional upper body strengthening, and you'll achieve a full-body workout that land-based walking simply can't match. Have you ever tried exercising in water and felt that wonderful weightless sensation? Share your experience or questions in the comments. I respond personally to every message. If you are still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Alternative number 2, gentle resistance training. Many seniors focus exclusively on walking for exercise, neglecting the critical muscle mass that naturally declines by 3–5% each decade after age 30. This loss accelerates after 70, leading to weakness, balance issues, and metabolism slowdown. Robert, a 78-year-old retired accountant, prided himself on walking 2 miles every morning. "I never missed a day, rain or shine," he said, adjusting his glasses thoughtfully. Yet despite his dedication, Robert noticed his pants growing looser, not from weight loss, but from muscle loss. His daughter became concerned when she noticed he struggled to rise from a low chair, something that had never been difficult before. Sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, accelerates dramatically after 70, but walking alone doesn't provide enough stimulus to preserve muscle mass. Our muscles need progressive resistance to maintain strength. Walking primarily exercises lower body muscles in one plane of motion, neglecting upper body strength and rotational movements critical for everyday activities like reaching into cabinets or turning to back up a car. Gentle resistance training using light weights, resistance bands, or even body weight exercises can dramatically slow muscle loss. Robert began a simple resistance program using stretchy bands attached to doorknobs. Twice weekly, he performed gentle pulling and pushing movements that targeted all major muscle groups. Within just 6 weeks, I could feel the difference, Robert shared with a gentle smile. My daughter noticed too. I was standing straighter and getting up from chairs without using the armrests. Start with 2 20-minute sessions weekly using light resistance that allows 12-15 comfortable repetitions. Focus on functional movements like standing from a seated position, rowing motions, mimicking putting dishes away, and gentle overhead presses like reaching for something on a high shelf. These movements translate directly to everyday activities while building protective muscle. The best part? These exercises can be done seated if needed, making them accessible regardless of mobility limitations. They also boost metabolism, helping maintain a healthy weight without excessive cardio. Is there a particular everyday task that's become more challenging for you over the years? Share it below. I'd love to suggest a specific strengthening exercise that might help. Alternative number 3, balance-focused movement. Walking on flat surfaces doesn't challenge our balance systems, which naturally decline with age. This leaves seniors vulnerable to falls, the leading cause of injury-related deaths in those over 65. Helen, a cheerful 74-year-old grandmother of 5, walked a mile every day along her neighborhood's smooth sidewalks. I thought I was keeping myself healthy, she explained, absently touching the faded scar on her wrist. Last winter, Helen stepped onto an uneven section of sidewalk and fell, breaking her wrist in 2 places. The recovery took months, and she never regained full strength in her hand. Our balance relies on 3 systems working together: vision, inner ear mechanisms, and proprioception, our body's awareness of its position in space. After 70, all 3 systems show decline, with proprioception often deteriorating most dramatically. Walking on predictable, flat surfaces doesn't challenge or strengthen these systems. It's like reading the same easy book repeatedly, but expecting your reading skills to improve. Balance-focused movements intentionally challenge your stability in a safe, controlled environment. Helen joined a Tai Chi class designed specifically for seniors at her local community center. The slow, deliberate movements helped her rebuild awareness of her body's position and strengthen the small, stabilizing muscles that walking alone doesn't engage. Now I practice my Tai Chi forms while standing near my kitchen counter, Helen shared. If I wobble, I can catch myself, but I'm getting steadier every week. Start with simple balance exercises like standing on 1 foot while holding a chair, then progress to walking heel to toe as if on an imaginary line. Tai Chi and specialized yoga for seniors provide structured progressions that improve balance while being gentle on joints. Even simple activities like walking on different surfaces, carpet, grass, sand, can help rebuild proprioception that prevents falls. The American College of Sports Medicine now recommends balance training as a primary form of exercise for those over 70, equal in importance to cardiovascular activity. Have you ever experienced a close call with a fall? What helped you catch yourself? Your experiences might help others in our community recognize their own balance challenges before a fall happens. Alternative number 4, mind-body connection practices. Traditional walking often becomes automatic, requiring little mental engagement. This misses a critical opportunity to maintain cognitive function through coordinated movement that challenges the brain-body connection. James, a 77-year-old retired engineer, walked regularly but found himself increasingly forgetful despite his physical activity. I'd walked 2 miles and couldn't remember a single detail about the journey, he confessed, the concern evident in his voice. It was as if my body was moving, but my mind was somewhere else entirely. Neuroscientists have discovered that activities requiring coordination between mind and body create new neural pathways even in our later years. The phenomenon called neuroplasticity means our brains can continue developing throughout life, but only when properly challenged. Walking on autopilot provides cardiovascular benefits, but minimal cognitive stimulation. Mind-body practices like Qigong, specific forms of yoga, or dance therapy require present moment awareness and coordination between thought and movement. James joined a senior dance class that taught simple step patterns, requiring concentration and coordination. The first day was humbling, James chuckled, his eyes brightening at the memory. I couldn't believe how challenging it was to remember just 4 steps in sequence. But within weeks, I noticed I was remembering names better and misplacing my glasses less often. Start with simple practices that pair movement with breath awareness, like gentle yoga, where movements follow breath patterns. Progress to activities that require remembering sequences, like square dancing or ballroom basics. Even walking can become a mind-body practice when you deliberately vary your pace, direction, or arm movements. A 2023 study found that seniors who engaged in coordinated movement activities 3 times weekly showed measurable improvements in cognitive testing compared to those who only walked, particularly in areas related to memory and executive function. What activities have you tried that require coordination between mind and body? Did you notice any differences in how you felt afterward compared to simple walking? Share your experiences below. Alternative number 5, purposeful movement. Walking solely for exercise can feel like a chore rather than an enriching activity, leading to decreased motivation and compliance over time. Dorothy, a retired librarian of 75 years, dutifully walked her prescribed 30 minutes each morning. I counted every minute, she admitted with a small sigh, her hands folded in her lap. It felt like taking medicine, something I did because I should, not because I wanted to. Eventually, Dorothy found herself creating excuses to skip her walks, and her overall activity levels declined dramatically. Research in behavioral psychology shows that activities with immediate, tangible rewards create stronger habit formation than those done solely for delayed health benefits. Additionally, activities that engage multiple senses and provide varying stimuli maintain higher interest and participation rates, particularly among older adults. Purposeful movement incorporates physical activity into meaningful tasks or hobbies. For Dorothy, this meant volunteering at the community garden 2 mornings weekly. I'm bending, stretching, walking between beds, and carrying watering cans, she explained, her face animated. I get more exercise than I ever did walking, but it flies by because I'm focused on nurturing the plants and chatting with the other volunteers. Consider activities like gardening, which burns more calories per hour than walking. Dancing, social ballroom or line dancing provides community connection. Walking with purpose, like birdwatching or photography. Volunteer activities requiring movement. Museum docents walk miles while sharing knowledge. The key is finding movement that serves a purpose beyond exercise itself. These activities often involve varied body positions and movement patterns, providing better overall fitness than repetitive walking. A fascinating study from the Blue Zones, regions with the highest concentration of people living past 100, found that centenarians rarely exercised formally. Instead, their daily lives naturally incorporated varied purposeful movements. What activity brings you joy that also involves movement? Could you incorporate more of this into your weekly routine instead of obligatory walks? Share your ideas. Your suggestion might be exactly what someone else is looking for. Alternative number 6, interval-based activity. Continuous moderate intensity walking doesn't optimize cardiovascular health or metabolic functioning for those over 70 and can lead to overtaxing joints through repetitive motion. William, a 76-year-old retired professor, walked at the same steady pace for 45 minutes daily. I was getting slower and more tired, he reflected, leaning forward in his chair. My doctor said my cardiovascular fitness was actually declining despite all those miles. William also developed plantar fasciitis from the repetitive foot strikes, leaving him sidelined and frustrated. Recent research has revealed that our bodies respond more favorably to variations in exercise intensity than to sustained moderate activity, especially as we age. Short bursts of slightly increased effort followed by recovery periods boost mitochondrial health, our cells' energy factories, improve oxygen utilization, and reduce overall wear on joints by decreasing total exercise duration while maintaining or improving fitness outcomes. Interval-based activity alternates short periods of slightly increased effort with recovery periods. William began incorporating simple intervals into his routine under his doctor's guidance. I now walk at my regular pace for 4 minutes, then pick up the pace slightly for 1 minute. Just enough that conversation would be a bit challenging, he explained. I repeat this pattern 5 times, and I'm done in 25 minutes instead of 45. William found his energy improved, his plantar fasciitis resolved with the reduced overall impact, and his doctor noted improvements in his cardiovascular markers. I actually look forward to those little bursts, William shared with a gentle smile. They make me feel capable and strong. For those with joint concerns, intervals can be done on recumbent bicycles, in water, or even seated with arm movements. The key is creating contrast between comfortable effort and slightly challenging effort. Start with very modest intervals, perhaps just 30 seconds of increased pace, and gradually build as your fitness improves. Even small variations in intensity yield significant benefits over steady-state exercise. Have you ever tried varying your pace during walks or other activities? How did it make you feel? If you haven't tried intervals before, what questions do you have about getting started safely? If you are still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you are here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Alternative number 7, gentle compression movements. Traditional walking doesn't provide adequate bone-strengthening stimulus, leaving seniors vulnerable to osteoporosis and fractures despite their activity levels. Virginia, an active 78-year-old who walked daily, was shocked when a routine bone density scan revealed significant osteoporosis. How could this happen? She asked her doctor. I've walked over 10,000 steps every day for decades. Despite her consistent activity, Virginia suffered a compression fracture in her spine while lifting a light suitcase, resulting in several painful months of recovery. Bone responds to brief, gentle compression forces by stimulating cells called osteoblasts to build new bone tissue. Walking provides some compression, but not enough to optimally stimulate bone formation, especially in the spine and upper body. After 70, maintaining bone density becomes critically important, as fractures can lead to cascading health problems and loss of independence. Gentle compression movements specifically target bone strengthening through safe, low-impact activities. Virginia's physical therapist introduced her to a specialized program including modified jumping jacks, without leaving the floor, gentle heel drops, and supervised standing exercises while holding light weights. It feels like I'm barely doing anything, Virginia admitted with a smile that crinkled the corners of her eyes. But my follow-up scans showed I'd not only stopped losing bone density, I'd actually gained some back. My doctor was amazed. Start with simple movements like marching in place with slightly emphasized heel strikes, gentle wall push-ups, or holding light weights while doing everyday movements. These create the beneficial compression forces without jarring impact. Programs like Bone Builders or OsteoFit are specifically designed for seniors concerned about bone health. The most remarkable aspect of compression exercises is their efficiency. Just 10 minutes, 3 times weekly has been shown to significantly impact bone density, making this approach particularly valuable for those with limited energy or exercise tolerance. Were you aware that bone can be strengthened at any age? Have you ever had a bone density test? Or are you concerned about osteoporosis? Share your thoughts or questions below, and let's discuss this often overlooked aspect of aging well. As we've journeyed together through these 7 alternatives to excessive walking, I hope you found approaches that resonate with your own circumstances and preferences. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate movement. It's to move in ways that honor and support your body's changing needs after 70. Think of these alternatives as old friends you're getting reacquainted with, each offering unique gifts for this chapter of your life. Water's buoyancy, the quiet strength built through resistance training, the mindfulness of balance work, the joy of purposeful activity. These are pathways not just to physical health, but to a richer, more engaged life experience. Margaret, the 72-year-old grandmother I mentioned who incorporated water exercise and gentle resistance training, recently sent me a photograph of herself playing tag with her grandchildren, something she couldn't have imagined doing a year ago. "I don't just feel better," she wrote, "I feel possible again." What could become possible for you with movement that truly serves your body's current needs? I invite you to share your own experiences in the comments below. Which of these approaches speaks to you? What questions do you have about getting started? Your story might be exactly what inspires someone else to make a life-changing shift in how they move. If you found value in this information, please consider subscribing to our channel and sharing this video with someone who might benefit. Your support makes it possible for us to continue creating content that honors the wisdom and potential of our golden years. Until next time, remember, it's not about moving less, it's about moving wisely.